the excellent range every time he stands up. You can see how that maneuver was cut short, maybe because of the wave, but I think if he gets more flow going, gets that board all the way back around, we're going to see bigger scores come through for Ezekiel Lau.
Zeke Lau, number 86, picking his jersey number when he qualified for the tour. He's had a couple of years where he's been really focused on just making the cut. I think his goal this year definitely should be winning a major event on the CT. Really fun to see how he is such a big guy, but also can get weightless above the lip. He had a couple of clips before Kramas started where he did a couple of like 10-foot air attempts where everyone's going, hey, hang on, settle down, make sure you're ready to compete. He just laughed. He had so much fun. And I think getting those clips with your friends is half the fun leading up to an event.
Yeah. Obviously,
they're getting feedback on what boards are working. It's all just going into prep work for putting on the jersey, where we've got it. Zeke up again. Smaller insider, but with some power to belt under the open face. They'll just continue to wrap this little inside to bits and kick out. Trying to just get a backup score to put more pressure on the Italian. Leo still scoreless at the moment out there. Was in the paddle battle with Zeke to start. Zeke broke free. And Leo does have the benefit of still 23 minutes on the clock, but I'm sure he'd just love to get started. Sitting this long without a wave while your competitors are getting active, got to be a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the longer you wait, the more pressure builds, then your standard of wave kind of gets, grows. It's almost like, well, I've waited this long now, I need something special to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, it's going to be a complete failure. So, Leo's just got to catch a wave, get the ball rolling, get himself into that rotation and try and get a score on the board. I think once he gets a wave under his belt, he's going to start feeling a lot better about the situation. Ezekiel Lau is going to improve his situation after this next score gets dropped in. A little bit more flow on that wave, which I liked. Leo again letting that one go.
And deep on this one, William Cardoso just kicking out quickly as that wave stretched out in front of him down the line. Fioravanti looks interested, starting to move a little bit further into position to finally get a start. This is the wave he was waiting for. Draws that rail back into the pockets, going a little bit flat. He'll hang in there off the top of the rail work. He'll get down the line and snap to finish, and he'll stay on his feet. So after a long wait, Leo probably figured he had to commit to something. Didn't have the real money section that he was hoping for, but his rail looks nice and clean. Super smooth down the line. Still just 21 years of age. And I guess a lot of his success spots really came the year before his rookie year, where he got wildcard opportunities and really made him count.
Yeah, he did. Beautiful opening maneuver there from Leo. He's got a nice wrap on him, hasn't he? Beautiful, smooth, clean wrap. It's not going to be a massive score here for Fioravanti, but it's going to get him on the board. It's going to give him confidence moving forward. Let's have a look at Zeke's wave. That's better. See how he got that ball all the way back around? He extended that maneuver. I think he needs to, if he does a little bit more of that on those big turns, I think those big single maneuvers are going to give him massive points. You can see him setting this one up. Comes off the bottom. Instead of jamming it, he flows through that maneuver. See how he kicks it at the end there. Look how much water gets displaced. Beautiful turn there from Ezekiel Lau. That's better.
Last year, Zeke finished 20th in the world on the championship tour. The cutoff is right at 22. Got his keepers last year in the first couple of events where he had a quarterfinal and a third place after stop 3. And then he had some tough heats in the second round, third round last year. New format for 2019 sees this what was the second round, the elimination round, just with 4 heats where third place is knocked. Last heat, Jacob Wilcox, the wild card, lost with a couple of 5s. And right now, Leo Fioravanti is trying to get out of that third spot. Opening ride 3.7 after the long wait, Bots.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be a massive score. There was nothing really spectacular on that wave, but what he did do, he found some flow on it. He got a score on the board. To win a heat, Joe, you've got to ride waves. So he's going to feel a lot better about himself, even though right now he's gone to the back of the line for priority. He can now start roaming and try and get some scores on the board.
Williams got a fun-looking wave, setting up A huge power dash in the pocket. Blows the tail off the top. And ends up slipping off in an awkward way. He wanted to punish that thing. Leo steps off. I love how the board's looking for Cardoso. He's getting so much speed off the bottom. Really aggressive into that first turn. And you think about it, Potts, even though he's not getting that wave all the way down the line, if he's finishing a two-turn combo that lethal out the back, he could have got a massive score there.
Yeah, well, you know what? You look at Karamas, it's not a long wave. It's not like a Jeffreys Bay or a lower Trestles where you've got, 100 yards of wave to ride. It's quite short, like 50 meters or so. So, for me, less is more. So take off and try and focus on two massive maneuvers. You'll get the score. The judges are going to reward those big single maneuvers. They're not scared to go into the excellent range if you do something extremely special. It's been tougher in this day and age to get an excellent score. A lot of fives being dropped yesterday. As you eloquently put it, a traffic jam of fives yesterday. I love that, Joe. That was a quote of the day for sure. But, you've got to really do something special to then get to step out of that 5-point range, don't you?
And one man that did that in the last heat was Kanoa Igarashi with a big heat win. Kanoa's with Rosie Hodge.
Well, Kanoa, you handled that heat extremely well. The first time this season that you found yourself in the elimination round, how was it?
Yeah, it sucked. It's a lot more nerve-wracking than you think. It's just like one of those things where just because there's not many waves, if there's plenty of waves, you really wouldn't care. You'd get your opportunity, but after the heat I had yesterday, I had some trust issues with the lineup. So, but it felt good just just get that start. As soon as I got that start, I was like, all right, I'm on here, and I just need to let the heat happen and let it roll out. And I felt like each wave I kind of just, felt like I could put an extra 10%, and I feel on top of my board, and that's all I can really ask for.
We love these exotic locations, but Bali Belly is something to fear. You weren't feeling so great yesterday. How did you bounce back and get your energy back?
Oh, it's just, it happens. We travel so much, so, as soon as I woke up at 1 in the morning, I was like, all right, this is it. It's Bali Belly. I got it, and you kind of just accept it, and you just let, you let it all out. You just let it happen. You just let it do its thing, and you can't really fight it. It's just, it's Bali Belly. So, I was like gargling tap water the day before, and it was just like I was getting too comfortable. So, but you just get a little slap on the wrist, and that was no excuse of my heat yesterday. I just couldn't catch a wave, but you still got to fight through when you're not feeling that well, and that's especially tricky when everyone else is like in top shape. So I just got there, so it was good.
You recovered so well. I know you got a lot of fans watching online. Japanese, you want to give a shout out?
Yeah, first I want to say hi to all my friends in California. All my fans in the U.S. Thanks for always sending messages, and sorry I messed you guys fantasy up yesterday with 1 point total. I messed my own team up as well, but yeah, felt good to make some points back in that one, and let's keep going. And then 日本の皆さんいつも応援ありがとうございます。昨日のコンディションちょっと難しかったんだけど、今日は昨日よりももうちょっと波に乗れたので、これからもどんどん頑張ってボードも調子いいので、また次のラウンドもみんな応援をよろしくお願いします。
Good job, Kanoa.
Thanks so much, Rosie. Kanoa with a great interview there and really explained in detail what he was going through the last couple of days. And I love his little support crew that he has in Huntington Beach. Guys that surf really well. You probably have seen their faces because they're in the water soaking wet when they're cheering him up the beach at the U.S. Open because he's gone back-to-back in those wins. And it's cool that they play fantasy just like you guys can on WorldSurfLeague.com. Kanoa's friends always pick him. That's the part of that clubhouse. They're always going to have him. And he noticed a couple of them changed their team once they heard that he was under the weather. And he wasn't too happy about that.
Well, when you're under the weather, but Cardoso, he's not under the weather. He absolutely just destroyed that little wave on the inside. And then Leo Fioravanti flying down the line. I thought he was going to go to the air right there, Joe. Sliding tail out on maneuver number 2. Kind of got a little stuck right there on number 3. And then kind of finished nicely. So trying to get himself back in the heat, but it feels to me like he's really struggling to find a little bit of rhythm. And then we've got Ezekiel Lau, who's now starting to find his feet. He's found a little grower. Look how this wave just kept giving. I'm not a big fan of that little layback snap thing. I want to see him flow out of that turn and then finish strong. So Ezekiel Lau at the moment with the lead. right behind him, William Cardoso, and in the hot seat, Joe, again, is Leo Fioravanti.
Definitely looks like Leo's feeling a little bit of that pressure of being in this spot. Obviously recovering from an injury, that shoulder's still taped up. And you think about how young he is, Bots. He's gone through some pretty major injuries in a short period of time. The scariest one was in the heat of competition of the Volcom Pipe Pro, breaking his back at Pipeline when it was absolutely pumping.
I mean, breaking your back, but then breaking it at Pipeline. That place is scary.
Ace Bucket warming up. Right with Connor Coffin as well. Glenn Micro Hall with the hat on. Ace, one of the vets on tour, that's been around for a very long time, preparing for Karamas as he's coming up next against Seth Moniz and Soli Bailey. Meanwhile, Zeke's still out front. Cardoso second, and Fioravanti trying to avoid his second 33rd of the season. Welcome back to Karamas. Such a beautiful afternoon after a long delay for calls. A lot of people weren't expecting to see heats today, and all of a sudden after the tide bottoms out and the tide starts filling back in, it often brings back those swell lines. Kieran Perot noticed that it had a better angle on it, and next thing you know, contest was called on. Everyone scrambled back to their rooms, got their boards and everything dialed to compete because we knew it was an elimination round. And you get a lot of cool fans down here on the beach. You get the local crew, and obviously Bali's got amazing tourism. They have so many things to see outside of the surf as well. They get wind of the contest on, they change their plans, head over here to Karamas to watch the world's best compete. It can be so close to that wave breaking out the back. The competitors can hear the fans scream their name every time they take off. With 11:20 to go, Zeke's out front of this one, and we've got Strider Wazalewski in the water now. Waz, how are conditions looking this afternoon?
Well, you know what? It's really fun out here. You know, none of us had kind of the thought that we were going to run heats, and look at us. We're actually into some really great action. I mean, the contour of the wave, though, is really hard to figure out. Watching all these surfers try to fit their turns in, and Potts had noted on it, the contour is really tight at the bottom, so the top of the lip line is really easy to get into, but actually coming out of those turns, coming down into the bottom of the wave is really tight, and you have to really kind of do that quick, tight turn at the bottom of it. You can't really do that big round gouge down into the bowl. So the lip line is going to be what they're going to be attacking the hardest, and with that little bit of crumble comes a little uncertainty, so a lot of the lip line maneuvers are really hard to control as well. Pretty fun to watch these guys in this heat right now, but I don't know if, Joe, you said it before, it was a traffic jam of fives, and well, right now we're back on the 5 freeway.
That's right, man. The 5 back in Los Angeles is a freeway I try to avoid at all times because you're always in traffic. Well, the idea, Fots, what Strider was talking about is the curve of the wave and what you're allowed to do with a powerful gouge. You're talking about Zeke Lau. The difference in turns. One maneuver you really loved, and the other you wish you drew out a little further. Yeah, well, the one on the left is the one that I wish he drew out a little bit further. And the one on the right is exactly what I think that if he does a lot more often, he's going to get better scores for. Look at look at the body position, look at the technique, look at the spray flying through the air. The aesthetics of that maneuver on the right-hand side, for me, is a winner. The one on the left is, he kind of cuts it a little bit short. Maybe that's due to the fact that he wanted to try and fit another maneuver in down the line, but he was way more committed to the turn on the right. You can see just the body position, everything just looks so much better coming out of it. And I think Zeke, I mean, he's got game. He's got that maneuver in his repertoire, which he just showed us. I'm a big fan of the maneuver on the right. Well, breaking it down, Potts, that was fun to see the different types of powerful carves you can lay down here at Karamas. You did mention the one he cut short. He ended up getting a little 2-for-1 at the end. Instead, maybe drawing it back and maybe just get one more hack. Obviously, quality over quantity these days. And Zeke understands those little details of difference of power, engaging that rail. And just cool to see him mix it up. Right when you mentioned that, he almost like he heard you, and he ended up really digging in and getting back to the power source. Yeah, and he can't hear us, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah.